Namaste my dear children. This is our third video on the second geography lesson, that is India physiography. In our previous two videos, we have discussed about two important physical divisions of India. The first one is the northern mountains here and second one is the North Indian Great Plain. And in the previous video itself, we have started our discussion about the third important physical division, which is the largest as well as the oldest physical division of India, that is peninsular plateau. Okay, so this peninsular plateau is formed by volcanoes. You should remember this. So about peninsular plateau, already we have discussed about the Aravalli mountain range. Okay, already we have discussed about the Aravalli mountain range. Then we have discussed about the Vindhyas. We have discussed about the Satpuras. We have completed our discussion about Western Ghats, Chota Nagpur Plateau and Malwa Plateau. So two things are remaining here. The first one is Eastern Ghats and the next one is Deccan Plateau. So now let us know something about the Eastern Ghats. Eastern Ghats, they extend from Mahanadi Valley here and they meet the Western Ghats here at Nilgiri Hills. Okay, so Nilgiri Hills is the place where Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats meet. Particularly, the name of the place is the famous hill station, one of the famous hill stations of South India, that is Ooty, which is also called Udakamandalam. Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats meet in Nilgiri Hills at the place Ooty or Udakamandalam. Okay, the highest peak in the Eastern Ghats is Armakonda. Okay, now let us discuss one important 2 marks or 3 marks question for your examination. So, which is most frequently asked, that is the difference between Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats. Okay. So, first point we will take as the location. Where is it? Where do these Ghats lie? Okay. So, Western Ghats, they extend from Tapi Valley to Kanyakumari. Eastern Ghats, they extend from Mahanadi Valley to Nilgiris here. This is the first point. Then second one is Western Ghats are parallel to west coast of India. Eastern Ghats are parallel to east coast of India. So that 2 points I have taken as the first and the second one. Now third one is Western Ghats are continuous, Eastern Ghats are not continuous. That means in the Western Ghats there are no rivers which have broken the Western Ghats, but Eastern Ghats are broken by river Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri and other rivers. See, you can see here. So, you can see here, this is Western Ghats. So, I have drawn it continuous. It is not at all broken. So, here you can see the Eastern Ghats. You can see the gaps here. See, gap created by river Mahanadi, river Godavari, then river Krishna, then river Kaveri. So, Western Ghats, children, they are continuous. Eastern Ghats are not continuous. So, this is the third point. Then fourth one is Western Ghats are steep and high. Comparatively, Eastern Ghats are not so steep and high. Okay. Then afterwards, the fifth one is Western Ghats are near to sea and the Eastern Ghats are little far from the sea. Yes, you can see it here in the map. See, this is the west coast which is very narrow. Okay, this is the east coast. You can find the white place there. So this is east coast. It is broader. That means what? Western Ghats are near to sea. Eastern Ghats are little bit far from the sea. Okay. Then after this, next one is Western Ghat gets heavy rainfall, whereas Eastern Ghats get comparatively less rainfall. So, with the help of these points, you can very well get 2 out of 2 or 3 out of 3 marks there in the exam. Okay. Then, now, afterwards, after learning about Western and Eastern Ghats, let us know something about the Deccan Plateau. Okay. So, Deccan Plateau is also the part of Peninsular Plateau itself. So, the southern part of Peninsular Plateau, this region is called Deccan Plateau. Okay. This region is called Deccan Plateau. And Deccan Plateau is covered by Satpura and Vindhya mountains in the northwest, Western Ghats in the west, Eastern Ghats in the east, and it is covered by Mahadev Hills, Michael Ranges, and Chota Nagpur Plateau in the north. Okay, so this is about Deccan Plateau. Now, again, let us know something about the importance of third physical division of India. Okay, again it is also very important question for your examination. Explain the importance, economical importance of Peninsular Plateau. Already we have discussed about the importance of the northern mountains as well as North Indian Great Plain, right? In the same way, importance of Peninsular Plateau. In the beginning itself, I am repeatedly telling that, okay, this Peninsular Plateau is formed by what? Volcanoes. Okay, it is of volcanic origin. That is why this region is very rich in minerals. Okay, I have told, no, Chota Nagpur Plateau. Okay, it is very rich in iron ore, manganese ore as well as coal. Okay, so it is because this region is formed by what, children? Volcanoes. So it is very rich in minerals and it has got rich, fertile, black soil. Okay, so basalt soil. So basalt soil, it is of which origin? Basalt rock. It is of which origin? It is volcanic origin. You remember, no? While we have discussed it, while we have studied about the soils of India, right? So, it is rich in black soil. That is why it is good for agriculture. Okay. Then, third thing is, this region has got thick forest and biodiversity. Then afterwards, it is the birthplace of many rivers. Okay, it is the birthplace of many rivers, and that is why these rivers form waterfalls and it is good for generation of hydroelectricity. You remember the hydroelectric power plant formed by river Sharavati, right? So, this is the birthplace of many rivers and it is good for production of hydroelectricity. And with that, it has also got number of hill stations. Okay, it has got number of hill stations like your Udakamandalam, Kodaikanal, then Mahabaleshwar, Panchagani. So many hill stations are located here. These hill stations, they attract the tourists. Okay, so rich in minerals, black soil, it is good for agriculture. It has got thick forest and biodiversity, birthplace of many rivers and helps in generation of hydroelectricity. And last one is important hill stations are located which attract the tourists and thus help in the economical development of that region. Okay, so this is about the western. This is about the importance of Peninsular Plateau. Now, afterwards, we have to discuss about the last physical division of India, that is the coastal plains. Okay, so Indian coastal plain, you can see it here. You can see Indian coastal plain here. Indian coastal plain, it extends from Rann of Kutch here in Gujarat. Rann of Kutch, it extends like this, and it extends up to Gangetic Delta here. It is very long coastal plain, some 6,100 kilometers, right? Okay, so this coastal plain of India can be divided into two parts, the western coast and the eastern coast. Okay, so western coast and the eastern coast. So again, this is another 2 or 3 marks question for you. Explain the difference between the western coast and the eastern coast. So again, the difference between western coast and eastern coast. First one is western coast extends from Rann of Kutch to Kanyakumari. Eastern coast extends from Gangetic Delta to Kanyakumari. You can see it here. So Rann of Kutch is located here. From Rann of Kutch to Kanyakumari, western coast. Eastern coast from Gangetic Delta. Here you have Suvarnareka river, which is located in Bihar there. So Suvarnareka river valley to Kanyakumari, Gangetic Delta to Kanyakumari you can take. Okay. Then western coast is located between the Arabian Sea and Western Ghats. Eastern coast is located between Bay of Bengal and Eastern Ghats. See, western coast is located between what, children? Here also you can see western coast, this white part, this is located between Arabian Sea and Western Ghats. Eastern coast is located between Bay of Bengal and Eastern Ghats. So this is the second important difference. Then third important difference is western coast is narrow, eastern coast is broader. That you have seen already. Western coast is narrow and eastern coast it is broader. You can see this broad region here. Okay. Then afterwards, next one is western coast is steep and rocky. Western coast is steep and comparatively it is steeper and rocky, whereas your eastern coast has got a large plain area and it has got many deltas formed by river Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri. Okay. Then afterwards, western coast is divided into 3 parts. Actually 4 parts. Anyhow, here they have given 3 parts. The Konkan coast, Karnataka coast and last one is Malabar coast. So, very important map marking question for you. So, western coast is divided into 3 to 4 parts. First one is your, actually this is called Gujarat coast. Then from Maharashtra to Goa here it is called Konkan coast. Okay. Then in our Karnataka it is called, we call sometimes it as Konkan coast only, but it is also called Karnataka coast. And last one is from Mangaluru to Kerala here up to Kanyakumari. It is called Malabar coast. Okay. So Gujarat coast. Next comes your Konkan coast. Maharashtra to Goa here. Konkan coast. From Goa to Mangaluru it is called, children, Karnataka coast. And from Mangaluru to Kanyakumari here it is called what? Malabar coast. Okay. Don't forget it. Then your eastern coast is divided into 2 parts. So the coast to the north of Krishna Valley here, it is called Northern Sarkar. What is it called? Northern Sarkar. This name is given during the time of British period. Otherwise, it was called Utkal coast. You remember, no? Dravida Utkala Vanga. Okay. So, this region is called Utkal region and this region is called Utkal coast. But during British period, this region came to be known as the Northern Sarkar, and this region, this coastal region is called the Coromandel coast. Coromandel coast and the Northern Sarkar. So, this is about the difference between the western coast and the eastern coast. Okay. So, this is very important question. You can just see the points here. See the points. Afterwards, you have to write it down. Okay. Yes. Then, finally, we have to discuss about the important lagoons that are located in the eastern coast of India. 3 important lagoons are there. There are many lagoons. They have given information, three important lagoons. One is the Chilka Lake. It is located in Orissa. Chilka Lake, it is the second largest brackish water lake of the lake of our India. It is the second largest brackish water lake of the world and the largest brackish water lake of India. What is this brackish water? Brackish water means the water which is not fresh. It will be little saline, but it will not be as saline as the sea water. Okay. Meaning, to explain you the meaning of lagoon, I will send you another video where you can very well understand what are lagoons and which are the important lagoons of India. So, here in the eastern coast, you have Chilka Lake, the largest brackish water lake or lagoon of India. It is located in Orissa. Second one is Pulikat Lake. It is located in Tamil Nadu. And third one is Kolleru Lake. It is the largest freshwater lake of India and it is located in Andhra Pradesh. Okay. So, these are the important lagoons located in the eastern coast. Now, coming to the importance of the coastal region of India. Again, very important question. Okay. So, coastal plains are very important for India for many reasons. So, first of all, it helps the people for fishing. It is main occupation of the people who live in the coastal plains. It helps in fishing, shipbuilding. Then it also helps for agriculture. It is good for agriculture. Then production of salt. Okay. So, salt can be produced in coastal region. Then next one is it has got beautiful beaches and these beaches, they attract the tourists. And next one, it has got number of ports, harbors. You have Kandla Port, Mumbai Port, okay. Then you have Mangaluru Port, Kochi Port, Chennai, Visakhapatnam, Kolkata. So many ports are there. These ports help in foreign trade. So these points explain you the importance of coastal plains. Okay. Yes. Then last one is last part of the lesson, children. It is about the islands of India. You know, no? India has got two group of islands. One is Lakshadweep Island and second one is Andaman Nicobar Islands. Okay. So, India has got two important islands. So, Lakshadweep Islands, they are located here in the Arabian Sea and Andaman Nicobar Islands are located in Bay of Bengal. You can expect a question where they will ask you to write the difference between the Lakshadweep Islands and Andaman Nicobar Islands. Lakshadweep Islands are located in Arabian Sea. Bay of Bengal, in Bay of Bengal you have got Andaman Nicobar Islands. So, Lakshadweep Islands are formed by corals. They are coral islands, whereas Andaman Nicobar Islands are formed by volcanoes. Then, totally in India we have 247 islands. How many? 247 islands. Among them, 43 are located in Arabian Sea. Okay. Then, out of 247, 204 are located in Bay of Bengal. They form the Andaman Nicobar Islands. Okay. So, we accept all these things. We have also got Thar Desert, very popular Thar Desert located in Rajasthan. So, here we have to complete, we are completing our second geography lesson, that is India Physiography. Read the lesson thoroughly. Okay, if you feel that the videos are little longer, you can watch the videos taking breaks in between, right? You watch the video for 15 minutes, then take 2 minutes break and again you can watch it later, right? So, have these links with you. It can be very helpful for you while you are making preparation for your annual examination. Thank you very much, children.